Recently, I was doing this. I was tapping into a barrel of someone, and they recorded it. And normally, when I drill in, I throw these little spiles right here, and I drill in, kind of like screws, and then you throw it in. Well, it went like mega viral, and everyone's just like, "Oh, he had those in his mouth, and he put them in the barrel, and it's so gross, so gross." It's honestly like going like this, and then dunking your hand in hand sanitizer, but.
I'm your host, Jeff Zart. We're going to take you behind the scenes with the craft distillers who are pouring their heart and soul into crafting the next version of America's spirit. This is the Great American Whiskey Cookers. Tasting from a barrel is decadent and not something everybody gets to do. When Murphy Quint taps an Amontillado cask that goes into the QuintEssential, well, it can best be summed up by one of our executive producers, Kirk. Stay tuned to see what he thinks. Welcome to this edition of the Great American Whiskey Cookers. We are here at Cedar Ridge Distillery in Swisher, Iowa, and we're standing in barrel shed number 9, and I have Murphy Quint with us. We're going to tap a barrel, but Murphy, as I'm looking around, you've got some interesting barrels here, right? So let's talk about a little bit more on your barrels. And I'm seeing a barrel that's like dark black, and I have this one that's standing upright. What do you got going on here?
Yeah, we have a ton of weird stuff happening in this room. So this is barrel shed 9, and this is kind of my little, it's like a funky one. All of our other barrel sheds, they hold 2,200 barrels, and they're all horizontal. Mm-hmm. In this particular building, we have a lot of our single malt aging in here, and those a lot of times are in casks bigger than 53-gallon barrels. So 53-gallon casks, they all fit in our normal racks that lay down horizontally, but the 59 or even like a 100-gallon barrel, we've got some big sherry butts like this one behind me. That's well over 100 gallons right there. Those don't fit in the racks, so we have to kind of put them somewhere else, and that's what we've got going right now. So it's a really weird room. It's kind of cluttered, but it's really fun to walk around in and just, hey, we should try that, or we should check up on this barrel over here.
Right.
Creates a lot of fun opportunities. So that's what's going on in this particular
Yeah,
barrel.
I noticed that behind us, there's this, and what's this one standing upright for? Tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is kind of a funny story that is not something that you'd normally see here. We have a lot of sherry butts around here, specifically sweet Amontillado sherry butts that we get from Spain. They are true, authentic sherry butts, which is fairly rare to come by these days. Well, this one in particular, it got damaged a little bit, so we had to stand it upright vertically and build a custom cart for it just to haul it around. So that is not a normal thing that you'd see here. That's not how we normally like to present it, but it is kind of cool looking now that we've got that like zombie apocalypse looking cart that hauls it around. So.
That's quite the little zombie apocalypse cart that you put it on.
Yep.
All right, so we're looking at our barrels. What's your barrel entry proof?
So barrel entry proof right now is exclusively 120 proof.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot of different articles and looking at some data on lower proofs and a little bit higher proof. You can go up to 125. I'm thinking about experimenting with that a little bit. I'm also intrigued by 110 to 115 barrel entry proof. Like I said, there's a lot of articles that speculate on what that can do to flavor profile. So I'm interested in all that. Right now, though, we're 120 proof, regardless of whether it's bourbon, rye, or single malt.
Okay, so all your products they're going in at 120.
Yep.
What's your angel share?
So our angel share, all said and done, it ends up being about 24%. So the way that it works for us usually is about 14% gets absorbed in the very first year into that wood. You're going to lose a lot more going into the initial wood as it soaks it in. After that, it's about 4% to 5% every year after that. Okay. So it's gonna go up, depending on age. But all said and done, it ends up being about 24%.
Even in the wintertime, you open up the doors.
Yes, that's something that we're trying to do for a number of reasons. And a lot of people think that that's actually so that we can embrace the temperature fluctuations. That is something that we're trying to do here, but that's not why we open the doors. The reason why we open the doors is because we actually want to get ventilation in this room. Angel share, that's liquid turning into vapor and evaporating out of the barrel. Well, we don't want it to coat that barrel. We want that process to keep happening. So by having good airflow in the room and having these doors open, that kind of blows off and allows evaporation to keep doing its thing. The angel share is a really difficult subject because it's painful in a way that you're losing whiskey that you've spent so much time and money creating.
Right.
But actually, it's very beautiful. It creates a good product. So we want to make sure that stuff blows off, and having these doors open, it creates ventilation in the room.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're going to tap a barrel here, right?
Yeah, you got it.
And you have a single barrel program.
Yes, we do a ton
Correct?
of single barrels from bourbon, rye, single malt, you name it. Our single malt program is probably the most interesting because we have such a variety of different finishing casks, and that's kind of what you're seeing around us here today,
Sure.
and that's what we'll tap into.
And this is how you do that. I mean, do you bring somebody in and they get to try it out of the barrel? And
Yeah, absolutely. So, it varies person by person or experience by experience, but usually, yeah, we kind of just walk around and I have a general idea what they're looking for, whether it's bourbon or say single malt. Today we'll say, it's single malt, and yeah, we'll walk into this room and just, hey, we've got some sherry butts over here, some port pipes over there, some ex-brandy casks, what are you interested in? And we'll start sampling them, and they'll find one that they can offer exclusively in their store or their bar.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's. And which one are we tapping here? Which one?
Well, so we've got a couple fun options. I think we'll go with this Amontillado sherry right here. It hasn't been tried yet. You can see, like this Oloroso, it has been tried.
Yep.
I tested that at one point in time. This is actually port finished rye up here, but you can see I've tapped into that. About once per week, I usually walk in here and just check up on things and see how they're doing. This one has no marks on it. It hasn't been tried. So what do you say we start with that one?
I'm all in.
All right,
I'm game.
Let's do it. So a little vent hole on top. And pull out of this one.
The flavors it's like one after another. I can't even hardly keep up.
Yeah. It really rolls and it evolves. It's kind of nutty at one point, and then it switches to
There's like
to
a
spices.
candiness
Yep.
and some cherries come through.
Yep.
A little bit of dark chocolates hit me.
Yep.
There's an almond flavor that's coming in there.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I better not drink all of it. I better give some to Kirk, otherwise he's going to be upset.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Yeah, it is. It is quite nice. I wasn't expecting that to be as flavorful as it is right now.
Try that.
Surprised by it. And I had not tried these before, but I'm satisfied with it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where you land. Wow, right?
I'm a man of few words.
Are you bottling this, the Amontillado?
That's kind of the cool thing about this is we don't really know. Maybe it'll be a single barrel, maybe it'll be a special release, maybe it'll
Sure.
go in the QuintEssential. It just kind of depends. The goal right now isn't to know what we're going to do with every barrel. It's to build inventory of really good stuff.
Sure.
And then figure out, basically, we want to create more options. We want to create, American single malt's so new right now that we don't really know where it's going to go.
Right.
And so we want to have a number of different options that we can take advantage of once it figures out where it's going to
Oh
go.
my God, that's delicious.
Yeah.
Murphy,
Thank
that's
you.
absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it really is. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's.
I am surprised by that one. I thought it would be a little bit rougher than that. It's not.
No. No, the mouthfeel on it, it's got a very balanced, it's got a very, even when it hits, you're saying it's what, 118, 120?
Yeah.
Never even coming into your mouth, it's got a super,
Yep.
It does not give you that bite at all.
No. And that's one thing.
delicious.
That's one thing we're always going for is we want it to be full of flavor, and at max proof, we don't want it to be super aggressive. We don't
Yeah,
want it to be
it's not.
overwhelming. We want it to be enjoyable, and yeah, I think that hits the mark.
Yeah, and it's got even on the nose, it's almost got it's like a candied, what is it? It's like a candied orange flavor
Yep,
to
a
it.
little bit of that, a little bit of raisin and fig,
Yep.
things like that.
Yeah, that's delicious.
I'm kind of in a sea of fun barrels right now. We move things at Cedar Ridge. We move things around constantly. We'll have we'll set up barrels over there, then over here, then in a different building, and this is just kind of where they are right now. But right now, this is just a fun set of American single malt whiskey barrels and unique finishing casks. As you can see, I've got a lot of specifically sherry butts like these around me. This one right here. This one is full, but we haven't taken the wrap off it yet for one reason or another, which we'll get to. These are some really cool apricot brandy finishing casks. This is an Armagnac finishing cask. So what we're always going for with our American single malt is, as many different flavor profiles as we can create, as many different finishing casks as we can utilize. And scanning the room, we've got some fun peated malts up there. We've got some unique, there's like a biscuit malt right behind me. So there's all sorts of different single malts on this wall, and then in these casks on the ground.
The diversity in casks that you have and the experimentation is one of those things that's super cool when it comes to craft distillers, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can pivot, you can make a decision to go, I'm going to do a barrel of this.
Yep.
And just run it.
And that's what I love about our scale where we're at right now. We're not like a small distillery. We're fairly sizable, so we can do a lot of whatever we want to do, but we're not so big that we can't pivot and make adjustments. We're at kind of the perfect point where we can really experiment by having a lot of unique barrels to work with, a lot of unique mash bills, things like that. And down the road, we can utilize them however we want to. When you're a mass producer, you kind of have to do things on a big scale every time, and that's very difficult. It's hard to get creative, and it's hard to find new diamonds in the rough when you're doing that. When you're our size, you can experiment a lot, put a lot of things away, and then down the road, you can start to replicate it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's way too much fun. And as a whiskey geek, I can see getting lost in this room for hours.
It's happened once or twice, that's for sure. This is my favorite. Like I said, we move things around a lot here at Cedar Ridge, but right now this is my favorite building to operate in just because most of our special finishing casks are in here, and it is a fun way to blow off some steam, kind of come in here and get back into the art of it all. Being head distiller, I think people naturally assume that I must be like just walking around doing this all day, and that's not by any means the case. I do a lot of management, I do a lot of interviews, promotional stuff, but also federal reporting, and I have to be able to tell the feds down to 1/10 of a proof gallon of how much alcohol we have on this property. So like, there's a lot of just a lot of desk work that's involved, and every now and then it's nice to escape into this room and just check up on the fun barrels that we have put away, kind of fall back in love with it, and just like I said, check up on the progress each barrel's making.
That's going to do it for us here at the Great American Whiskey Cookers. Murphy, thank you so much for the day, walking us through your distillery, the tastings, and showing us everything you got. This is an amazing facility, and you guys are you're knocking it out of the park.
Hey, thank you so much. It's been a ton of fun to have you guys here, and I really appreciate you coming out.
And they can find you again at cedarridgedistillery.com.
Yep.
Right? And to get in touch with you or to follow you.
At Murphy Quint on Instagram.
Fantastic. I'm Jeff for the Great American Whiskey Cookers. Until next time, if you can't be good at it. See ya.